What a privilege to share the festival Shabbat morning service together. What a privilege to be a community and to have been sustained and to reach this moment. And what a privilege it will be today to do something just a little different at the end of our festival morning service, to celebrate with a concert lifting up the music of Passover. 412. On this Sabbath festival morning, still holding the joy from my family's Seder last night right here, each of us reflecting, now is the time to move out of the narrow space. The eye is the starting place, never the arrival. The journey outward begins now. If there were ever a Shabbos morning prayer that I had to hold to celebrate Shabbat morning, it would be the prayers of gratitude. I invite you to reach for the yellow sheet. You want to know Jewish prayer? Let yourself lean into gratitude, and there you will be on Shabbat, and there you will be on festival morning. What a wonderful world. שאני רואה בחלוני את שמורי לך גם אני שר לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם השמיים כחולים ענן לבן והבוקר בהיר ובלילה ישן ואחלום לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם בכל צידי הקשת יפים וחדשים פרוסים אחרי הגשם על פני האנשים והיום כה יפה וקל לי כל כך לומר שאני אוהב אותך. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. 451. For those who are joining us virtually, please reach for the prayer book, the PDF that is on our live stream link. Open a split screen or bring a second device so that you can pray as well as follow. The Chatzi Kaddish is, of course, that lullaby that rocks us into tradition. Chatzi Kaddish is how we dwell in all that is sacred around us.
Yitkadal
v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba Amen. Ve'alma divrach Yerute Ve'yamlich malchute בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה, ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמא, אמרו Amen. 453. Our festival is a season of calling, entreating us to listen. Listen to the voice behind the passing angel, the shofar, the wind, and the word. Nivarech, let us bless as you are able. It is our tradition to stand. On the pilgrimage holidays, we make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Let this call to worship be the beginning of your pilgrimage. 452. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, baruchu et Adonai, hamivor. Adonai, Hamevorach, Leolam Va'ed. La 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 la. 455. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give this morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. 458, as you are able, affirming our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shem Kod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. 460.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
The Shema and its blessings. I ask you to turn with me to 461 at the bottom. In Talmud Pirkei Avot, Hillel says, "Be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace, pursuing peace, rodef shalom, loving people, and bringing them closer to the Torah." 463. None of us can observe Pesach last night and this evening again without bringing our hearts to the plight of the Ukrainian people, Jewish and non-Jewish. When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then goodness enters our lives and we can begin to change the world. May the terrifying plight of the Ukrainian people be the wake-up call to us for the ways that we need to change the world. At the bottom of 462, L'man tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lehiyot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. 467. Let us be like Nachshon ben Aminadav. Let us be the ones to step into the torrential, raging waters. Let us partner with the divine to bring about healing. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai, that wherever we are, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. 466.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, נורא תהילות, שירה חדשה, שירו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, ומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחנו ממך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל.
ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו.
גא ישראל.
Amen. 468. La 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 la.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufiagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. La la la
La la la la la. 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 Let us praise the source of knowledge and light, from whom we draw wisdom and insight. Let us savor the fullness of each day, of every Shabbat, of every festival, and the treasures that are made available to us, indulging in prayer. Each of us, belachash, through page 492, as you pray this morning, remember to shift over to the spring Morid Hatal. As you shift over, be certain to express all of the special insertions for the festival. When you have completed your prayer, work your way back to your seats.
prayer is not purely an act. All things pray, and all things pour forth their souls. The heavens pray, the earth prays, every creature and every living thing. In all of life there is longing. Creation is itself but a longing, a kind of prayer to the Almighty. What are the clouds, the rising and the setting of the sun, the soft radiance of the moon and the greatness of the night? What are the flashes of the human mind and the storms of the human heart? They are all prayers, the wordless outpouring of a boundless longing for our Creator. 473. We have this privilege on festival to say, for blessings and not for curse, for life and not for death, for abundance and not want. Livracha velo liklala, lechayim velo lemavet, lisova velo lerazo. Livracha velo liklala, livracha lechayim velo lemavet, lechayim lesova livracha. 479. Shalosh regalim, 3 times a year, tachog li bashana, you shall hold a festival for me. Et achag hamatzot tishmor, you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, eating unleavened bread for 7 days, as I have commanded you. In the middle of the page, one does not travel to Jerusalem. One returns, one ascends. The road taken by generations, the path of longing on the way to redemption. One brings rucksacks stuffed with memories to each mountain and each hill. In the cobbled white alleyways, one offers a blessing for memories of the past which have been renewed. One does not travel to Jerusalem. One returns. Perhaps that has been your experience this Chag, as you were surrounded with family and friends, with tradition and longing. 480. It is our responsibility for these insertions. Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Ve'imotenu, Ya'aleh v'yavo, V'yizacher zichronenu, V'zichron kol amcha, Beit Yisrael lefanecha, L'tova, Ulechein, ulechesed, ulerachamim, ulechayim, uleshalom, b'yom chag hamatzot hazeh, zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova, amen, ufoktenu bo levracha, amen, v'hoshi'enu bo lechayim, amen. For those of you who have ever been in Israel during Pesach, you will hear this prayer in many, many B'tei Knessets. 485.
Dalecha shekol ro'ev ro'eh, ish lo nigun meyuchad mishelo. Dalecha shekol ro'eh
כסף. יש לו שירה מיוחדת משלו, ומשירת העשבים נעשה ניגון שרואה. כמה יפה ונאה ששומעים השירה שלהם. טוב מאוד להתפלל ביניהם, ובשמחה לעבוד את השם, ובשירת העשבים מתמלא הלב ומשוקק. וכשהלב מן השירה מתמלא ומשתוקק אל ארץ ישראל, אור גדול אזי נמשך והולך מקדושתה של הארץ עליו, ומשירת העשבים נעשה ניגון של הלב. 492. Create a pure heart within me. Let my soul wake up in your light.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
495. Observe the month of Aviv and offer a Passover sacrifice. What do you bring on this Pesach? What do you offer from yourself to the source of creation. For it was in the month of Aviv at night that HaShekhinah freed you from Egypt. For 7 days thereafter you shall eat unleavened bread, bread of distress, bread of humility, bread that tells a story. You departed from the land of Egypt hurriedly, so that you may remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt as long as you live. Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'en kemasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor vador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom av harachamim heitiva v'rtzoncha et Zion Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'echad levad vatachnu Melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah Udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim 496 Baruch
Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan
Torah Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedusha tov 496
Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erachum v'chanun, Erech apayim v'rav chesed v'emet, Notzer chesed la'alafim, Notzer chesed la'alafim, Nosei avon v'afeisha v'chata v'naki.
We pray responsively.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Ma Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Gadlul Adonai iti,
Unerom ma Shemo Yachdav
Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod Kicho b'shamayim u'va'aretz Kicho b'shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai hamelacha v'hamitnaseh l'chol l'rosh Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed Al שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים,
חג שמח.
על שלושה דברים העולם עומד, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. יאי לי 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 יאי לי לי יאי לי לי יאי לי יאי לי לי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai.
Good morning, everybody. So actually, you know what I realized? It looks like, oh no, Isabel's coming up. So this morning, we are reading the festival portion, which is Exodus chapter 12, beginning with verse 21. And you can find it in your blue plout chumash by turning to page 412. For those who are joining us virtually, you now want to shift over to the plout chumash that you'll find on the PDF under the live stream link, or any chumash that you have at home. Exodus chapter 12, verse 21. And I noticed that this morning our Gabbai, Ellen Leifer, must have had a very late night last night. And do we also have her recorded there? Okay, sorry about that. Just stretch. Okay, so you know, I want to actually take a moment, and I want to share with you that part of being here is the experience of going through the sea. And this morning, when I was rolling the Torah to where we needed to read, I showed Laura that literally when the Torah is written at Shirat Hayam, just a little past where we're reading, you actually watch the Torah describe the splitting of the sea. So the column is written not as a column that we usually see, but as 3 columns. And so we actually have this experience when we speak about Nachshon ben Aminadav, that person who stepped into the river, and the deeper that he went, the Talmud tells us, the more the water receded. I'm sure you heard this at your Seder last night. Or when we speak about Miriam dancing through, when you're reading the Torah, you feel like the sea is literally opening. You feel like you are literally walking through, which is our experience. So that's what I wanted you to begin to think about. Last night, we had the next generation, my grandchildren, my great nephews at our Seder, and they're really old enough, they're 3 and 1, to really be part of the experience. And so when we told the story last night, we wanted them to have the experience, not just tasting, but singing and dancing, not just singing and dancing, but carrying the matzah on their back and whipping one another with the batzel yarok, with the green onion. And today, for our discussion, rather than my traditional Torah study that we're going to do, I'm going to give you the prompt now, so as you're listening, you can read. I am going to ask, you give me this when you're ready. Oh, I am going to ask, well, I'll hold my question now. For the first aliyah, I want to call our Gabbai, and this is the one time of year that we give Ellen a pass, because her seders are almost as full or fuller than my seders at my house. So Ellen, we honor you, and we're thrilled, and we know you're with us virtually. So I ask for the first aliyah, Ellen Leifer, to come forward. Nala Amod. Ellen's going to be my reader, and Yisrael Aga will be my blesser. Nala Amod Yisrael, mi beit Avraham v'Sarah le'aliyah harishona.
Barku et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן הטוב.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, if you need me to do it, just let me know. I got this, Bar. Amen. Vayikra Moshe l'chol ziknei Yisrael vayomer aleihem mashru ukchu lachem tzon lemishpechotechem v'shachatu hapasach ולקחתם אגודת האזוב וטבלתם בדם אשר בסף והגעתם אל המשקוף ואל שתי המזוזות מן הדם אשר בסף ואתם לא תצאו איש מפתח ביתו עד בוקר ועבר אדוני לנגוף את מצרים וראה את הדם על המשקוף ועל שתי המזוזות. ופסח אדוני אל הפתח ולא ייתן המשחית לבוא אל ביתכם לנגוף.
I read that again? I read that again?
No.
Oh, this one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yesher koach. And you stay here with us for a moment. Florida people, we need you home for the second Aliyah. I give the honor to our Deborah Beck. Na la'amod dvora mi beit Avraham v'Sarah la'aliyah ha'shenit. Page 412. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Ushmar
ושמרתם את הדבר הזה לחוק לך ולבניך עד עולם והיה כי תבואו אל הארץ אשר ייתן אדוני לכם כאשר דיבר ושמרתם את העבודה הזאת והיה כי יאמרו עליכם בניכם מה העבודה הזאת לכם. And then she does her closing blessing. Let's do it together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So, of course, the tradition is that at our Seders last night, we kept discussing until the morning sun came up. So if any of us are feeling a little groggy, and you were giggling when I yawned earlier, it's because I stayed up till the sun came up having discussions on the Seder. So we get a pass today for whatever is having a challenge. We're going to pause for a moment, and this is such a beautiful privilege on Shabbat and on festivals with the Torah open, to turn our attention to people in our community, our friends, our family who are in need of healing. As I share the names that have been shared here in Shul, I will also pause and look to you if you would like to add additional names. When my eyes meet yours, please do so.
מי שברך אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את החולים.
Susan Bash, Evelyn Beller, Phyllis Fillmore, Ellen Futterman, Helen Krasnow, Joyce Krasnow, Mary Miller, Richard Miller, Errol Nadler, Alicia Okram, Stephanie Payusko, Elaine Trott, Bev Ushko, Norman Ushko, Laura Gelber, Richard Gelber, Lauren Petty,
Lance Stolzer. Karen Raphael, Susan Radbeer. Stacy Lynn Henrietta Woods.
Clutch loiterer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimelei Rachamim Aleichem Lahachlimam Urapotam Ulahachzikam V'yishlach Lachem Mehira Refuah Shlema Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Urefuat HaGuf Hashtab Agalav Uzman Kariv Vinomar Amen.
For the third Aliyah, we are going to try one more time, and I have the privilege of calling Martin Miller. Na la amod Mordechai Dov Zahav Ya mi Beit Eliyahu Yoshua Vagela la Aliyah Hashlit V'Ha'achrona la Maftir Et Adonai Hamborach. Let's do it together. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim
Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Va'amatem Divach Pesach Hu L'Adonai Asher Pasach Al Batei B'nei Yisrael B'Mitzrayim Binagho Et Mitzrayim Ve'et Bateinu Hitzil Vayikod Ha'aham Vayishtachavuhu Vayelchu Vayasuhu B'nei Yisrael Ka'asher Siva Adonai Et Moshe Ve'Aharon Kein Asuhu Vayehi B'chatzi halayla V'Adonai Hika Chol Bechor Be'eretz Mitzrayim Mibchor Paro Hayoshev Al Kiso Ahad Bechor Hashvim Asher Biveit Habor Bechor Behemah Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher b'chabonu mikol hamin v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. For the honor of Hagba and Galila, I'd like to call Cindy and Vicky. Nala Amod, please rise. I'm going to turn to Shirat Hayam for you so that you have the experience of my filibuster, so you can see it. Here we go. Cindy and Vicky, come on forward.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael api Adonai biyad Moshe.
Cindy, come with me. Vicky, get the stuff.
Torah, Torah, Torah.
I need one of you. One of you put your hands up at the top. Put your hands on the top. No, one of you. Thank you, Moshe. Roll in.
Torah,
Vicky, can you go
Torah,
get,
Torah.
don't let go, please.
Torah,
Don't let go.
Torah, Torah, Torah.
Don't let go.
Tziva lanu
Now I got
Moshe.
it. Now you can let go.
Torah, Torah,
Vicky.
Torah,
Just
Torah,
this.
Torah,
Take this.
Tziva
You take this.
lanu Moshe.
That's okay. Bring it around the back.
Torah, Torah,
Great.
Torah,
Like baby's diapers. Tight as you can.
Torah, Tziva
It doesn't have to be that
lanu
tight. Just nice and firm.
Moshe.
You got it.
Ki mitzion tei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion tei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion tei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim, ki metzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai,
Yes, your
yai,
koach. Yes, your
yai,
koach. Thank you,
yai.
guys.
Yai, yai, yai,
Yai,
yai,
yai,
yai,
yai,
yai,
yai.
yai.
Lai, 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 lai.
Yai, 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 yai.
So, please be seated for a moment. I am going to skip a Haftorah this morning so that we have time for, you're all set, Yisrael, Yesher Koach. So much strength to each of our people who, we need you back from Florida, and we need you back for our minyan, but we also need you back to celebrate with you. This morning we did a shorter festival service so that we can get to our concert of special Passover music, and I want to honor that. But there's no coming together for Shabbat and for festival without a moment of study. And normally in our shul on Saturday morning, we do about 35, 40 minutes, 45 minutes of dialogue on the parsha. This morning I was thinking about it, and I wanted to ask two questions and hear from anybody. Was there a question asked at your Seder last night that had never been asked before? And if you would share it, that was the first thing. And the second thing is, do you have a question that you want to ask me from the Seder last night? And for those of you who will be observing the Seder with me again tonight, our Seder goes live at 5 this evening, second night Seder. And of course, to say to you, anybody who wants to borrow our Haggadot just needs to be returned next week after Passover. But was there something asked at your Seder that you never heard before? There was actually at ours, so that was very cool. Or is there something that you'd like to ask me that you haven't had a chance? Usually on Yom Kippur we do this thing, ask the rabbi. Well, here you got me. It's Shabbos, it's festival, you got me. Ask me a question, bring it on. My predecessor, may he rest in peace, he used to call it stump the rabbi. And I didn't like that. I know you guys can stump me. Every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday you stump me. Was something asked at your Seder last night, or do you have a question for me? Please. Anybody? Yisrael. A Passover question, I hope.
I read what we read in 21 about the land, and I was asked about a Christian friend in my job. He said, "What do you do with the land? You eat it, you give it to the poor. Why is it?" I put certain ideas that I was sure, but I'm not sure about the whole exact thing. So it would be very kind of you, Rabbi, if you explain.
Of course, of course. Before I answer, I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to see if anyone wants to offer some answers, and then it will come back to me. So the first thing I want to say is, it goes without saying that we do not sacrifice animals, and we do not sacrifice a lamb any longer, and it hasn't been for a very long time. It goes without saying. But the question is a beautiful question. Why is that direction given? Anyone want to venture a guess? I know I said, we have someone else at the door. Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, okay. Anyone want to venture an answer? Remember, one of the things I always say at my Seder table is there's more than one answer. So you can't, tell me what you think. Why the lamb? What was the purpose of the lamb?
I thought it just was to recall Abraham.
You thought it was to recall Abraham. You mean with the ram, not the lamb, in the thicket? That's beautiful. Because of the sacrifice. Sacrifice in Hebrew is hakrava, lehakriv. It's a really beautiful word, Yisrael. Lehakriv doesn't mean to kill or to slaughter or to burn. Hakrava means, the root is kuf resh bet. It means to get close. I'm not going to get closer because I took my mask off. To get close. Yeah. Who are we trying to get close to? We're trying to get close to Hashekhinah, to the source of creation. So we want to do that every day, at least 3 times a day, if not more, during prayer, especially on Shabbat, especially on the festival. But you also have to remember that we had centralized religion. This is a pilgrimage holiday. We're all returning to Jerusalem. We used that language in our liturgy this morning. I reminded you that the returning is a spiritual journey. And when we return to Jerusalem, we come with the best that we have, the most precious of what we have. And that's what we offer. And your response was so wise. The truth is that the lamb went to serve, to feed, to nurture those betafkid who were working, meaning the Kohanim, and it went to feed anyone who didn't have food equity, who wasn't sustained, meaning the people in need. It was always part of the process. But it was about also giving of bringing yourself to partner with the divine. How do we partner with this presence that we can't see, that we can't touch, that we can't, well, we do it by offering for the best of what we have and reaching for the divine one that we can't actually see. So the act of hakrava, of getting close, I think has much wisdom, even if it's not. It's giving of the best of what we have, right? And so I hope that that partially answers your question. Yes, Dave.
I'd like to actually add to that.
Please.
It also draws us together as a people, and that's still the Passover practice today. It's drawing us together. And in this case, the first one was forming the people and
Formation.
you know, the mandate of not to leave until dawn.
Okay.
You know, stay there together and become a people.
And that's where this, you know, you guys always smile when I say this, but that tradition that you keep going until the morning, right? This is, it's really quite beautiful. We do that, of course, when we receive Torah, when we stay awake at Sinai. We do it when we're becoming a people. Thank you, Dave. Beautiful. Other questions or something that was asked at your Seder? Cindy?
Leaning on the pillow. Do you lean to one side or the other? Because you really explain it in your terms.
I love, it's a great question. Again, I'm going to open it up. Of course, we lean. Do you lean to one side or the other?
Lean to the left, I've been told.
You lean to the left. Now I'm going to ask you, do you know why?
I mean, you lean in general as a display of the freedom to eat however, and it's sort of, if we have in our minds, in a way, it's a little, has some contradictions because it's a replication of some kinds of Roman and Hellenistic tradition of being kingly and leisure, and you're just leaning and people are feeding you food. So in some ways it's a little bit odd, but it's a display of how we can eat however we want because we're free.
We are, so life is full of contradictions. I love that you acknowledge that, but that's just the way it is. It's full of contradictions. The leaning, for everyone who may not have heard the whole thing, I lean because I'm free. I lean so many things during the Seder. I wash my hands twice. The first time, I'm free. I choose not to say the prayer. The second time, listen to this, I choose to say the prayer. I'm free. I'm so free. I'm so free and liberated that I can lean at the table. I don't need to sit upright the way that we normally do. I can lean, but the reality is that this comes from Roman traditions of these big feasts where you would literally be lying down and be fed, dipping. A lot of the dipping also comes from that. And now what if we were going to bring more meaning? Okay, so let me just answer. You can lean to any side. But of course, that question's been asked in tradition. So then an answer, what will you lean to the left? It's closest to your heart. There's a leaning to the left for the heart. Is that the right answer? It's an answer. It's a beautiful answer. Last night at my Seder, we had all these children, and we got to the 4 questions. I donned a unicorn mask. Maybe some of you saw me wear it during Purim last year, I think. And I will do it again tonight when I begin the Seder at 5, just so we ask. That's another way to answer this. Why are we leaning? Just so we ask questions. Just so you don't think that it's the same. It's a rhetorical question. Why is this night different? It has to be different. And you know, the prayer we say, teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer. Let me not get stuck in the same things. 2 or 3 more questions that had not been asked at anyone else's table. I'm going to give you one of the questions I got from my oldest daughter, who's in her 40s, and she said, why do we say avadim hayinu, we were slaves? We know why we say we were slaves, but why don't we say we were an enslaved people? Or why do we say we were slaves? Or instead of we were a people enslaved, or our people were enslaved. Do you hear the difference? We were slaves, and this we had a very big discussion on this. But let's start first. Why don't we start with why? What's her problem? My daughter's problem with saying we were slaves versus our people were enslaved, or we were an enslaved people.
That was done to us.
And so we become victims. More. I love it. Thank you. More.
The Seder, we're asked to imagine that each of us is going through a process of freedom, so we want to make it as personal.
That's it's true, but it's still personal if I say our people, our people were enslaved. But there's saying we were slaves. I tell you, and it may be, this is all the kids jumped on it. We've got 5 kids and their husbands and wives and partners. Yeah, Vicky, what do you want to?
I'm thinking that if you say we were slaves, it's sort of you embody the essence of being a slave.
Right, and so that's what their problem was, which is that's our identity, and we're letting someone else give us our identity. We're actually, when we were slaves, yes, it's personal, but do I want to be defined by someone else? That was like really their question. I'd much prefer, my daughter said, to say, my people, make it personal. My people, we were an enslaved people, which says this thing happened, but that's not who I am in my core. Vicky?
Yeah, but I feel like part of why Passover is so important is that it goes beyond the concrete. It's like the narrow place.
So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Mitzrayim comes from the word tsar, which means narrow. And what Vicky's saying, and it's what we got to at our table, not that all of my kids agreed with me, but the fact is we were in this narrow place. We weren't just an experience that was happening to us. Our people were enslaved. No, we had become narrow. And what Vicky's reminding us is that happens to us every day, every week, every month, every year. In what ways did I get so narrow and closed in that if I just say our people, my people, we had an experience of this, I'm not saying that's my identity. And in fact, that was our identity. Why did we need 4 different terms of redemption, right? Vehotseiti, vega'alti, vehitzalti, velakachti. Exodus 6:6. Why 4 terms? Because we were in such a narrow place, as Vicky tells us. We had become so stuck. We were slaves. Not just because we want to have that experience, but we had become the identity that had been enforced upon us. So I'm going to just take one more question because I really want to get us to this celebration of Pesach. Anyone else before I let Israel close with the last question? Israel.
No, it's not a question. I want to support and share.
Sure. Last word goes to Israel. Let's do it.
I see like unity. When you say our people, some people, we are related to, we are far away now. It's been a long time ago. We forget about that. This is an event. It's a slave. So the blood is one. So when you say I was or I am the slave, or
And that was what this
this
gentleman said to us.
My blood and forever, it is our situation in that, and we go from there and we get free. All the story about that.
And then hopefully from that moment, it actually changes how we are on the earth. So that's, we ask a lot, Cindy, like, why do we feel that we have to respond to what's going on in Ukraine? Why do we feel that we have to fill up the blue fridge for our neighbors who don't have equal access and equity for food? It's so personal. I was there. We were there. And so it changes us going forward. Standing together, page 400 and 514. Yahallelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizgav shemo levado.
Odo al haaretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav. Livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu. Behold, I have given you a good instruction. My Torah, do not abandon it.
Eitz chayim hi
Lemachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar tiracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. So just take a moment and without moving, just turn to someone you didn't come in with, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Introduce yourself if you don't know the other person, and wish them a Chag Sameach. This moment, this opportunity.
Hi.
All right, and we'll have more time to do this. I do want to take just a moment and just orient us with all that's going on. Please be seated, I'm sorry. So tonight, our second night Seder can be accessed virtually at 5 p.m. or anytime after 6:30 if you are gathering with your people later. Remember, if you don't have Haggadot at home, you can borrow Haggadot from our shul and then just return them next week. You're going to sign out with Cindy if you want to borrow. And we will be thrilled if you join us virtually, cehv.org at 5 o'clock or anytime after 6:30. It will be archived and you can go there. PJ Library Story Time with Congregation Emmanuel. Thursday, April 21st from 4:30 to 5. It is a virtual experience. They're going to be virtual, and then they're going to join us for Tat Shabbat. Next Friday, our tradition is to do Yizkor. Of course, all shuls do it 3 times a year, and of course, a 4th time on Yom Kippur. 3 times a year on each of the festivals when we're the most full of joy. Our Yizkor will be next Friday, April 22nd at 7 p.m., which is a half an hour before our Shabbat services. We always do it on the Friday night closest to the end of the festival. And Alexandra and our rabbinic intern, Jack Sherritt, will look forward to greeting you at 7 next week and then and sharing the Sabbath services with you. Parent open house for our Zemer Jewish Learning Adventure, Sunday, April 24th, 10 to 11. Please contact Jonathan with any questions or to connect people to our Minahel, our principal. Strategic planning meeting. This is a big deal. On May 1st, a lot's going on at synagogue. What are the things that are important to you? If you're one of the regulars, if you're the people who show up on festival morning and this matters to you, or you want to see new things like the concert, please make sure to show up for an open forum. As the retiring rabbi, I will not be there. I'll be in the building and I'll come in for Yom HaShoah, but an opportunity for you to speak openly about what you need. From 10 to 11 on Sunday, May 1st, let's plan together with the board for the future of this congregation. And then that same day, May 1st, at 11:30, from 11:30 to 12:30, this congregation will be observing Yom HaShoah right here in the main sanctuary. We are going to be using a practice that's just begun in Israel, where children of survivors, grandchildren of survivors, educators, rabbis, and the next generations tell the story from a first-person perspective. So having had the privilege of studying with Wiesel, of blessed memory, Elie Wiesel, for 5 years, I will be sharing a few of his stories. Caleb Nelson, our teenager, post-B mitzvah, will be telling the story of Anne Frank. Our Minahel, Jonathan Billig, will be telling the story of his ancestor who was in the Warsaw Ghetto, and Mark Grunblatt will tell the story of his grandfather who came and lived in the Catskills. So an opportunity to hear first person from beloved ones who have already left this world, for those of us who take this legacy to recount their stories. My Intro to Judaism class is launching. It will be the first 2 Thursdays of each month. We begin in May. Please reach out to the main office or to me if you want to join us. Our synagogue's going to Israel. Yay! We leave on June 25th, 2023. You have a year to sign up. Reach out to Alexa, and we'll start posting information about the trip on our website. Ukraine humanitarian aid is ongoing. Please check at the front desk to be part of this. Our CEHV Food Access and Security Initiative is ongoing. Please grab a brown paper bag with all of the instructions or go to our website to be part of this. Turn with me, please, if you would, to page 500. And '94. On Shabbos, on the festivals, we try to reach, to be, to see, to experience the presence of the divine, and always we do that by reaching for our own loved ones. Why should I wish to see HaShekhinah better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24 and each moment then. In the faces of people, I see HaShekhinah. And in my own face in the glass, I find letters from God dropped in the street, and everyone is signed by Hatzur. And I leave them where they are, for I know that wheresoe'er I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. In our congregation, we make certain to be with those who are observing their Shana, their year of grief. If you are a person who is in your year of grief, please stand at this time. And for those who are with us virtually, who are observing Shana, we are with you. So too do we weave the yard sites of loved ones who died in this season in years past. Fanny Cohen, Gloria Gus, remembered by Allison Gus, Max Heishuber, Kitty Satinsky's father, Alvin Marblestone, Merritt Markle, Linda Sumber's father, Henry Markson, Martin Michaels, Samantha Michaels' grandfather, Minnie Rosen, Marilyn Rosen's mother, Sidney Rosenthal, Dave Rosenthal's father, Jesse Schlesinger, Martin Seidlin, Eleanor Werbolowski, Jay Werbolowski's mother. For those who are saying Kaddish, please rise at this time. Know that we are with you. It is our tradition to stand together as a community, each of us, holding the martyrs of our people who left no one to say Kaddish, each of us holding the people of every race and nation, the Ukrainian people among them, the Israelis among them, the Palestinians among them, the people of every race and nation who live their lives as a blessing to humanity. We weave them into our prayers as we affirm the holy 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Bi'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye decho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam ulalmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shmei d'kudusha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. I said to you earlier in the Amidah that it is always a privilege for me to bring you traditions from my community in Israel. And it would be unusual to be in a shul in Israel and on the festivals to not weave in prayers like these. Page 660, we close our festival morning service and then we'll be moving to our concert. We'll say Hallel, which I didn't do after the Yamidah, so we could say it before the concert. This moment of, on festival, lifting up our sense of joy and praise, but first, our connection to Yerushalayim, a yearning for peace for all Jews, for all people, for all peoples, all of us created in the image of the divine, to find the ways to live together. Yerushalayim shel zahav.
Lai 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 ya la lai la la lai 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 Avir harim talul kayayin beruach haranim Nisa beruach ha'arbaim im kol ha'amonim Uvtartem otaylan va'even Shvuya bechaloma Ha'ir asher badad yoshevet Uviliba choma Yerushalayim shel zahav
ושל נחושת ושל אור. הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור. הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. חזרנו אל בובות המים, לשוק ולכיכר. שופר קורא בהר הבית, בעיר העתיקה. ובמערות אשר בסלע, אלפי שמשות. ושוב נרד אל ים המלך, בדרך יריחו. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור. הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. So I ask you to break a little with tradition. Normally Hallel is said right after the Amidah. And I ask you to turn with me to page 558. Page 558, and we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et hallel. As we ready ourselves for a delight of our concert, we open with Psalm 118 on page 558. Hodu l'Adonai, Hodu l'Adonai, ki tov, ki le'olam, ki le'olam chaso. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Yomar na, Yisrael, ki le'olam, ki le'olam chasto. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Yomuna, Beit Aharon, ki le'olam, ki le'olam chasto. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Yomuna, Yirei Adonai, ki le'olam, ki le'olam chaso. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la
La la la la la. Ya la 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 la.
Good morning.
Good
So
morning.
happy to see all of you here this morning. I invite my Zemerites to come find a seat, please. invite also Barry to do any sound adjustments that he might have to do to capture our lovely Zemer. Who are the prophets in our midst? We begin with a traditional prayer you sang last night at your Seder. You will sing tonight. Thought it might be a nice way for us to begin together. Excuse me. Okay.
We're having a pick emergency.
No, pick. Nope. I don't need it. I don't know if you've ever been to Disney World, but they have this ride where all you hear are the sounds. And it's total darkness, and this is not tiny. This is tiny. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Here it is. Yeah. So that's what I felt like I was giving you, the backstage of the temple. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishvi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera ve'yamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishvi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Mimhera ve'amenu, Avo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Miriam. Miriam HaNeviah, Miriam HaNeviah, Adrabanit muzikait, melamedet v'mahiga, Imhera ve'yamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishvi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Thank you. I invite our Zemer to rise as we move to our next piece. Song is such an important part of celebrating, especially as Jews. Song is such an important aspect of our heritage. And that's why we sing. In the wake of the terror, through tears and loss and sadness, witnessing the future of a new age dawn. From the ashes of our grieving comes a spirit of healing. We must gather our strength and carry on. We will sing, enchantment teaches, life is a narrow bridge. The lesson is to cross it unafraid. With fear all around us, our faith in God is tested. It's hard to find the strength to be brave. We will sing, though darkness surrounds us. We will sing, for a brighter day. Find the good in the world. Give thanks for all our blessings. We will sing and chase the darkness away. Long ago in the wilderness, God freed us with an outstretched hand. Will we ever stop wandering? Will we make it to the promised land? We will sing, though darkness surrounds us. We will sing, for a brighter day. Find the good in the world. Give thanks for all our blessings. We will sing and chase the darkness away. Chase the darkness away. It's a first-person experience. Passover is. As we discussed this morning, we were slaves. Avadim hayinu. Avadim hayinu, hayinu. Atam b'nei chorin, b'nei chorin. Avadim hayinu. Atam b'nei chorin. Avadim hayinu. Ata b'nei chorin, b'nei chorin. Ata b'nei chorin, b'nei chorin. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 yai. Lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 lai. Ata, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Thank you. Please be seated, Zemer. So, I get to make a bit of a choice here. Oh, no, we haven't got to that part yet. I thought we were ready for kids, and then we were going to get to be kids. So prepare yourselves to be the kids. But we have a few more songs before that. Zemer, whenever you're ready. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. A burning bush told me just the other day that I should go to the Red Sea. Pharaoh's vast army coming after me. I took my staff, put it in the sand, and all of God's people walked on dry land, singing, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Get this. Well, Pharaoh's army wasn't coming too. So what do you think that God did do? He had me take my staff and clear my throat, and all of Pharaoh's army did the dead man's flow. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Well, that's the story of a stubborn goat. Pharaoh should have known that chariots don't float. The lesson is simple, it's easy to find. When God says go, you had better mind. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, baby, let my people go. It would have been enough. It would have been enough if the source helped us through that situation. You might know what word I'm talking about. Dayenu. It would have been enough. So here's a nice retelling of our Dayenu. Ready? It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been enough if God had given us slavery. Brought us out of slavery. It would have been enough if God split the Red Sea. It would have been enough if God had brought us onto dry land. It would have been enough if God led us to the promised land. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been enough if God had given us holy Shabbat. It would have been enough if God had given Moshe the Torah on a mountaintop. It would have been enough if God sustained us in the desert sand. It would have been enough to build a temple on the Holy Land. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. It would have been enough. But look at all the miracles that God bestowed upon us. It would have been enough. It would have been see, I'm going to just quickly do this one piece for the children, and you might get a prize if you're here, and if you have a childlike spirit. One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there were frogs in his bed, and frogs on his head. There were frogs on his nose, and frogs on his frogs here, frogs there. Frogs were jumping everywhere. Let's try it again. One morning when Pharaoh awoke in his bed, there were frogs on his bed, and frogs on his head. There were frogs on his nose, and frogs on his toes. Frogs here, frogs there. Frogs were jumping everywhere. So beautiful job. If you would like, you can come see me after and get a frog for yourself. So I will let our beautiful Zemer take a moment of a rest. From narrow places, as we touched on today, Mitzrayim, Tsar, from narrow places, we move to miracles. This beautiful piece is written by Bob Helfant, Misery and Miracles. I forgot the mercy I was shown when I couldn't see the dawn or the chances I was handed. You know just how hard it all can be, and if we're lucky, we're reminded of the things we took for granted. Look at all you've got. Misery and miracles.
didn't know I wrote a Passover song.
Kind of shaped it in there. This is a new song to me, but it has a lot of personal significance in the language that it's written in, is in Ladino. And that is a language that my grandmother and my great aunt spoke to each other. So it was really fun to learn this Flori Jagoda song that talks about Pesach's arrival. Purim, Purim, Purim lano, Pesach, Pesach alamano, las masas si están lloviendo, los yabraquis y sacos yendo, aman, 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 Dios bendiciones das mazal. Aman, 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 il Dio bendiciones da mazal. Purim, Purim, Purim l'anno, Pesach, Pesach alamano, Signor Rubi, dijo las días no comer il pan días, aman, 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 il Dio bendiciones da mazal. Aman, 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 il Dio bendiciones da mazal. And as they say, now for something completely different. Many nights we've prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe, though hope is frail, it's hard to keep. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? close, we have one more piece to offer you, and then we have one piece that I would love for us to do together if you have your prayer book nearby. Just a moment. There we go. Please stay standing. There is an ever-growing body of Israeli music. It doubles as liturgical music. Pesach is one of our 4 New Years in the Jewish calendar. Today, we close with Bashana Haba'ah. You can find it on 652 in your Siddur, wishing one another joy, wishing one another health, and wishing one another wholeness for this year.
The blue 652 if you're in the thin prayer book, or the black letters 652 in the thick, or the black letters 388 in the thin. What page? 652, 652, the blue bracketed numbers, or the big thick one, or if you're in the thin prayer book, it's page 388.
Bashana Haba'ah, Neshevo HaMirpeset Ve'Nisfor, Ziporim Ve'hodot, LaYudim Be'chufsha, Yizavakut Tofeset Bein HaBayit Levein HaSadot, Otira, Otira, Kama Tov Yihiyeh, Bashana, Bashana, Haba'ah. Otira, Otira, Kama Tov Yihiyeh, Bashana, Bashana, Haba'ah. Anabim Adunim Yashilu Ad Ha'erev Ve'yushu Zeranim LaShulchan Ve'ruchot Ve'hudim Yizom LaDerech Itonim Ve'shanim Kahanan Otira, Otira, Kama Tov Yihiyeh, Bashana, Bashana. ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hayarachem.
And may you have everything that you need. May it be enough. Baruch
ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
B'te'avon. I think we need to become famous. I think that this gorgeous piece has to be recorded, Bob Helfand.
Thank
And
you.
we have to
Thank you
put
so much.
And Alexandra and CAG on the map. Amazing.
I have matcha in my mouth, so I can't properly say thank you.
Thank you, Zemer. Woo! Amazing stuff. How's Ben doing?
He's coming from here. Is there something?